This is Aliens and Artists. Part 3 of our conversation with Anonymous Experiencer 1. I'm your host, Stuart Davis. In Part 3, Anonymous Experiencer 1 shares his hypnotic regression around events which occurred in Florida, involving he and his ex-wife. Included is a recording of the hypnosis session, his reflections on it, and the precipitating event.
Oddly enough, that hypnosis session is actually the very first hypnotic regression that I ever had. I've only had a few, and it was a fascinating experience for me. It was about 4 years ago that I did that session, and there are lots of ways that you could try to describe what it feels like to be in a hypnotically regressed state. It's like a high strangeness episode all in and of itself, in a way. You know, it's one of those things where you really have to be there in a way to truly understand how strange and how differently connected or differently tethered you are to your physical self, to your day-to-day reality, and your history, your memory. It's a really profound experience. In this session, my ex-wife and I had gone down to Miami to go to a wedding, ostensibly. We went down there usually a couple times a year because her parents, they lived between Miami and an international city, let's say. So they would come into Miami, and they had a condo in Miami, but we weren't staying there this time. They had lent their condo to a friend, and so we were staying at this fabulously wealthy family friend's place off of South Beach, Miami. It was one of those places where you take the key card into the elevator, and the elevator drops you off right into the pad. You know, there's no middle class hallways to walk through and going into this kind of spot. I remember fancy stone floors everywhere in the spot, and just these enormous overstuffed pieces of furniture and things. It was a nice place. Listening back to that session was really strange. I hadn't heard it for years until you asked about it. I had to go digging around for it. But it definitely has, since I listened to it and since I experienced it that first time going through that regression, it's reverberated in my mind quite a lot. It wasn't the first time that I had an experience with mantis entities. However, within the session, you'll hear my kind of wonderment at seeing them again. It's one of the interesting things about hypnotic regression in general, and also the idea of kind of blanked out memories, that there could be these kinds of long-term memories, and it's just as if the pathway to those long-term memories has been erased. And so once they become relevant, then everything pops back in. So there's a funny moment in this regression where you'll kind of hear me woozily saying oh, I know who these guys are. I know these guys. And it's interesting. I've had other regressions and I wasn't so woozy. I don't know if that's because it was my first hypnotic regression. Maybe it has partly to do with we had been at a wedding earlier that night and I was a little bit tipsy when the event actually happened. That's possible. I don't know why, but I've had other regressions since then where there is a fog at first and then you kind of find your focus. Interestingly, in listening to this session with this encounter in Miami, when I hear it anyway, I hear myself snapping into kind of a borderline normal state of focus late in the session when I'm actually kind of pulled, my consciousness is kind of pulled from my body. Once I become pulled from my body within the session, somehow it seems to rejigger another aspect of my verbal base or my personality or my recollection, where I'm kind of making quicker associations somehow. And listening back to it, I felt that was kind of fascinating, that would be the thing that would trigger like a differentiation in my accessing. So yeah, we went there for a wedding. The wedding went relatively well. And as I recall at the beginning of the session, I went to do the session because I remembered coming back and having this weird sense. I had a suit on. We just walked back in the door, and I was kind of, as I recall, I think I was just like loosening my tie and stuff. And I went over to the window of the guest room that we were staying in. It was pretty high up. It was like a high part, like condo building. And like in a lot of these places in South Beach, there was at least one enormous swimming pool, like straight down. And like a lot of them, it was illuminated at night. So I looked out and looked down towards this pool, and this ball of energy, almost like lightning, like appeared like right where I was looking, like right after I looked, like right where I was looking, it just appeared there. And my conscious recall, it started growing, and I called my ex-wife over, and I remember my conscious recall before this hypnosis event was that this kind of like strange ball of lightning grew to maybe bigger than the size of a car, and then it started moving towards us, like towards the window that we were looking through. And in my conscious recall, I knew something had happened. I knew that it was an abduction event. It was a different kind of an abduction event because of the kind of technology used. And that was really fascinating to me. And one of the reasons why I did a regression for it, it was one of the instances where there was an abduction and somebody else was present at the outset of that and was around afterwards too. And I saw her reacting to this ball of energy coming towards us. Then she passed out, and it seemed like I passed out right after that too. But as you'll hear in the session, things went a little bit differently. Do I completely trust everything that happened in here is 100% accurate to what happened? In listening to other people's memories, even other people's memories of events that I've been privy to, there's often some kind of subjective place between the two parties or between the more parties, and you don't even know if that's quite 100% correct. And I'm comfortable with that. When this session happened, when this hypnotic regression session happened, it was an exploratory session for myself. I couldn't possibly imagine that I'd be comfortable enough or in a place where 4 years later I'd be allowing you to kind of serve it up for public consumption. That would have been completely unthinkable when I actually recorded it. And, I relish that now. I don't even know that I would have agreed to that a month ago, but here we are.
Well, what changed?
I think part of what changed is the difference. I think part of it is now I have heard the first 2 episodes have posted, and I feel more comfortable hearing myself than I thought I would. I mean, I was comfortable at the outset. I was kind of doing it as a challenge, like as some of your listeners that have listened to the other episodes know, like a big project that I went through in grad school, this was kind of hinted at one point, was that I decided to go explore haunted locations and film them. I did that in part because I was like trying to face part of my past. I knew that I attracted these kinds of strange entities. And so I was trying to be brave by going into these haunted locations. Well, that was like, in some ways that was a great idea. And in some ways that was like an incredibly stupid idea. In some ways that was like the worst idea. That was a really dumb idea. However, there were really interesting things that came out of it. And as people heard at the end of episode 2, a friend and I saw a large triangular craft when we were out looking for haunted folks at a tuberculosis hospital. the thing is, when you ask and go look for weird things to happen, don't be surprised if they turn out to be way, way weirder than you would have imagined. We couldn't have predicted some of the things that happened on that trip and other trips. But along those lines, I think that when you asked me if I wanted to put this material out there, I was really nervous at first because I sound woozy. It's almost like I'm doing an impression of a 6-year-old kid in a weird way, like listening to it. There's like this weird, I'm woozy and kind of have this, I don't know. But like, I was like, even just outside of the material itself, I realized that I was like, man, I sound stupid and it's just really personal. It's from like literally a therapy session. But at the same time, like, these kinds of tapes are kept super private, and they are like, and people wonder about them. People wonder about these kinds of sessions, and they rarely have an opportunity to actually hear them. And so in that way, like, this does seem like a good thing to do. Like, I went into this session like scared, like, what if small old lady wants to take advantage of me somehow while I'm hypnotized? She looked like the kindest 5'4", 110 pounds soaking wet lady that you could find. Brilliant lady. But, I realized there was just a deep, deep sense of relaxation in that state. And the reality of hypnotic regression is really fascinating to me.
To me, this hypnosis session is another voice in your story, another register of your being. The therapist is there as well. And we've gone to all these different perspectives, times, and it feels great to land on this one that, I don't want to speak for you, but it feels like it marks a critical fulcrum. This was a point where you tipped over the event horizon into looking back into the phenomenon itself. I can see the agency in you claiming your frame, as in, I'm going to take a look here. It may be terrifying, but I'm going to look. You became an active agent instead of a passive participant with indistinct role and power.
It's interesting that you bring up the fulcrum, because I think that's true in two different ways. One is the fulcrum, the kind of shift of me going to the session itself to find out about this event. And the other is the paradigm shift of the event actually happening. It was very close to my ex-wife and I split up. And this event was very pivotal in me recognizing, after years of me, quote unquote, trying to be a normal person, like trying to walk away from being an experiencer somehow, as if having a traditional job in entertainment and having a wife that was completely uninterested in that kind of in spirituality or anything like this. Somebody that I was married to that had no idea that I had experiences like this. Like, I bottled it up so concretely. And this event happened, and I realized I'm an experiencer whether I deny it or not. These things are going to happen to me sometimes, whether I am forthright about it with other people or not. It was very pivotal, this experience, realizing just as you hear the hypnosis session, there's just these strange moments where I'm being taken to this other seeming dimension or something like this, and this kind of like adjacent realm. And I'm more worried about what my ex-wife is going to think about it. And like that, and like it's truth throughout the whole situation. You hear me at the end, and I'm like just as panicked about her finding out about it. After all of this, after some seemingly like a surgical maneuver happening, probably like other stuff happening.
Here now is Anonymous Experiencer 1's hypnotic regression session around a multiple manted contact in Florida a few years ago. Just a heads up, the audio is bad, but the content is amazing.
Dark, dark out. There's the night, maybe 12:30. I'm frustrated. She's frustrated at me, which makes me frustrated at her. I can't tell why I don't know why she's frustrated. I don't know what's bothering her, but she's got a lot of negative energy at me, and but it's like she's not talking about it, so I'm not talking about it either. And we're in the room we're in the bedroom. There's big white bed in there, and it's like a king size bed. There's big windows, and I'm looking out, and because I feel like tingling, like I feel like something's opening up, like something's opening up in my brain, like something's looking at me.
And what do you feel emotionally if something happens?
I'm worried because she's in a bad mood, and like I haven't talked to her about this stuff. Like she's not really open to hearing about like this stuff. Like I kind of tried to talk to her about it before, but she doesn't really. It makes her feel weird. She doesn't want to hear about it. So I feel scared about whatever's happening, because I'm scared for myself, but like, because I don't know what's gonna happen. But I'm also scared for her, because that, like, she's gonna be scared, and I think she's gonna be mad at me because I didn't tell her about this stuff. I think she's gonna be really upset.
Well, so it's really a lot of extra pressure.
Yeah, I don't like yeah, it's like I'm really torn here. I'm like I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but I'm pretty excited because I don't often get to see what's happening. So seeing this light out there is really pretty cool. Like it's like, even if something bad's gonna happen, like at least I got to see this cool thing. Like it's like about the size of a car, and it's just coming up. There's a pool down there, and the pool, it's like a regular like a Olympic style pool with the lanes and stuff, and so I can kind of see. So I'm looking. I feel weird, but I know to, like, when I feel that something weird is about to happen, that something's like coming, that I like intuitively, like, I get this sense that, like, I should go to the window. I should go see if something's out there. And for whatever reason, I look down towards the pool, like I think it's going to be coming from that direction. And I'm like, this is weird, because if something's coming, wouldn't it be coming from, like, the closet, or like from up above or something? But it's not. It's coming. it feel like it's gonna come from below, and sure enough, there's just a little light, and it kind of flickers, and I'm like, wait, did I just see that? And then there's like a ball of light. It's got like lightning, there's lightning around it, around the ball. Like, it grows. It was just a little speck of light, and now it's like almost the size of a car. Like, and the crackling. There's like crackling lightning, and it was raining a little bit ago. So, but this isn't that. It's definitely not that. So I'm looking at it for a minute, and like I think like, should I say something to? And I'm like, should I keep it a secret? And then I'm getting a little scared, so I tell her to come over. I don't want her to know, but I also want proof for myself that other people see this stuff. So I come here, look, and she comes over and she looks, and I'm like, you see that? And she's like, yeah. And I said, what is that? I said, do you, like, is that? And she said, I don't know. I said, I don't, and I'm thinking, there's something's about that, there's something happening here, and she looks like she's just turning away, maybe she's, maybe she saw, I think she saw the thing coming up before I did. I think she saw it coming up before I did, because she looked scared. I'm looking at her, I'm not looking out the window, and she sees it scary, and she's turning away. I think she's running away from it. She's not mad, she's scared. So she's turning away. She's trying to get away from it. And I'm about looking at it. Well, it's a lot closer now. It's like pretty much right out the window. And there's it feels like there's a hum in the room. There's a sound. It's vibrating the whole room a little bit, not a lot, but I can tell the whole room feels the vibe. The whole room is kind of affected a little bit. Like, I can feel it through the floor a little bit, but it's really solid floors. It's like stone floors, like big stone tiles, like smooth. But I can feel it even through my shoes. Still got my shoes on. I don't know why I still have my shoes on. So I feel the sound. I hear the sound, and everything's happening real slow now, and then the flash starts happening. Flash. And it's familiar. It happens. It doesn't happen every time. It happens sometimes. There's a flash, and it's getting really. I Like I'm falling. I'm starting to. My head feels like it's getting kind of like compressed. Like my brain's starting to like. Feels like I'm wearing a helmet all of a sudden. Like not really, but just in my brain, it's starting to feel kind of jammed up. It's pressure, like someone's squeezing my head or something. And so flash happens. It feels like I'm starting to lose it. Like I'm starting to lose. Like I'm gonna fall down. Like I should falling down. She's about out. There's a little red light. There's a little red light behind her, I think. It's scanning. And zipping around the room. There's a little red light zipping around the room. What is that? It's moving all around. It's real fast. It's red. And there's it's getting really dry. It's really dry. There's electricity in the room. The electricity's in the room now. I don't know if it's still outside because I'm not looking over there, but I can see it in the room. It's around like the walls. It's like, I'm scared because there's a big mirror in there, and I'm scared it's going to break the mirror and we're going to get in trouble. She fell down. She's asleep now. It's not. I think she's asleep. Is she asleep? Is she asleep yet? She just fall down. I'm going over to try to wake her up. I'm trying to get her by the arms. I just try to, like, gentle, but like I'm trying to see if she's still awake. Make sure she doesn't hit her head. She fell on the floor, but her head was, thank God, her upper body hit the bed and her knees hit the floor, I think. And her legs are off the bed, but the rest of her shoulders and her head, they hit the bed first, so that's good. Now she's on the floor. She's all on the floor. I just want to make sure she's okay. I saw her hit the bed, but I don't know. She still hit the floor kind of hard. Her eyes are open still. She's looking out the window. I don't see what she's looking at because I'm looking at her. I just want to make sure she's okay. She's not too scared. I mean, I'm scared, but I bet it's really scary for her. She's looking out the window and she's kind of fidgeting. She's like shaking. I can't tell if it's because she's going to get moved. I can't tell if they're going to move her or if she's just shaking because she's really scared. She's looking out the window. It seems like she's trying to point. She seems like she's trying to pick her arm up, but it's not moving anywhere. She's like she moved her head a little. She can move her head a little bit. She's trying to get me to look out the window. Look out. I'm like, alright, so I'm turning around my head. It's really slow. It feels really slow. It's slowing down. Turning around.
What do you see?
She's on the floor. My arms are getting... I can't hold her anymore. Her head's a little bit off the floor, but she's gonna hit her head a little bit. It's not that far off the ground. It's only like 8 inches or something like that, but probably not gonna feel good. But I can't hold her anymore. I'm starting to get real limp. It's like I'm falling asleep too now. I'm gonna fall asleep now. I can't. I don't know if I can keep talking because I'm gonna fall asleep now. It's fallen.
So let's tap into the part of you that stays conscious and let that part speak.
Can't move. Can't move. I'm frozen on the ground. Stiff as a board. Real stiff. Stiff so they can move me, I think. I think there's a crap. There's like a ship. I can't see the outside yet. I can't see the outside yet. I just know there's two beings looking at me. They're like really light. Really light. I can just tell that their forms are there. They're like about 5 feet. They're about 5 feet out, maybe apart from each other, and about outside the window. It's like they're staring in the window. They got really. These are different guys. They got arms like a grasshopper. Why are you guys who are you guys? Who are you guys? I don't know you guys. You got a head like a grasshopper. Why do you look like... Who are you guys? Move real slow. Move real slow. It's getting harder. There's a hole in the ship. The ship's kind of... It's like a... It's the ship. They're out... How are they outside the ship? They're floating. Oh, they're floating through the window. They're coming through the window. The window's closed, but they're coming right through it. 2 of them. They're pretty big. They're pretty big. They're bigger than the Greys. They're bigger than me. Gosh, they're big. They look like grasshoppers. There's a ship outside. Nobody else can see it. I don't think anybody else can see it. I don't know. Can anybody else see that? There's a ship out there. Somebody gonna save me? Is somebody gonna interrupt us? Because there's a ship outside this big... They're in a big tall building. We're in Miami. There's people all over... It's late, but there's gotta be people to see this out there, right? I don't know. I don't know if there are. I don't think anybody's... I don't know. It seems like time is... I think it's like the time's frozen. The time's frozen outside. Like we're moving forward. We're experiencing stuff, but we're like in a bubble. There's a bubble around the room. That's what the electricity was. That's what the electricity in the room is. The electricity's not there now, but we're in a bubble. We're in a bubble. But the stuff's not in the room anymore. Where'd the stuff in the room go? They made like an energy bubble in the room. She hit her head. I'm laying down. Guys can't come in the window, and all the stuff goes away. Where did all the stuff go? How did they do that? Are we in the same place? It don't feel like we moved. It didn't feel like we moved. It doesn't feel like we moved, but the stuff's not there. We're somewhere different. I don't know where we are. It's like we're in a bubble. We're in a bubble, and it's not the ship. I don't think. It's not what I saw behind him. There's this little ball behind him. It must have been what they came out of. It must have been what came out of that energy thing. I don't know. There's a kind of like a chrome. It's like a camera. It's like a camera. It's like some technology. I don't know what it is. It's not. It's like. It's more like It's more like a physical thing. This energy stuff is like energy, and then there's this thing behind him. Just for a second, I don't see it very long. It's got like it's scary. It's scary. I don't like. They're okay. These guys seem okay. I don't like that ball though. The ball is weird. Maybe it's just because I don't, it's my first time seeing it, so, but it's scarier than they are. Everything went away, and it's getting harder again to, I'm trying to move forward. I'm trying to move forward in time. We're in the bubble. Oh. Where did go? We're in the bubble. I don't see. Oh. Did they take her somewhere else? I hope they didn't take her somewhere else. I hope she's okay. I hope she didn't hurt her head. She's gonna be so mad. I don't want her to be mad. She's gonna wake up. She's gonna wonder where. They took me somewhere else. We're in the bubble, but I think she's in the room still. I think we just went somewhere else. But it felt like we stayed in the same place. We didn't. It's not like they didn't. It's different than the other guys because I didn't get levitate. They didn't levitate me. I didn't levitate. I'm not floating. I'm not floating right now. I'm on like a table or something. I'm like raised. I don't think the table has legs. It's like a slab. It's like floating in the bubble. It's not metal. It feels like metal, but it looks like light. It's not like real bright, but it seems to be like made out of the same stuff that the bubble is. It's not real. It's not like fixed in. It's not fixed. It's not like a chair or a table. It's like they like make it. They can just shift it around. I don't know. It's pretty cool, but I don't know how they I don't know how they do that. Maybe that was the ball. Maybe the ball lets them do that. I don't know. The little technical ball. Maybe the technical ball makes them do that. So, I'm on a slab. It's like I'm floating, but I'm not levitating. It's just that the slab is... The slab thing... The light slab thing is like... it just kind of, it's vibrating. I'm kind of swaying back and forth a little bit. I think it's to pacify me. I think it's like rocking back and forth a little bit to make me feel better. But it's also kind of vibrating kind of fast. Like there's, like on one level it's swinging back and forth like I'm in a rocker a little bit. Just a little bit. Just like slow, like 4 to 6 inches. But the vibrating stuff, it's doing something. It's like a diagnostic thing. The fast vibration, it's like resonating a frequency. It's making a frequency happen in me. Like I hear like a up high pitch. I can't make the noise, it's too high. It sounds like tinnitus a little bit, like your ears are ringing after a concert. It's like that a little bit, but I'm feeling like I'm not in my body now. Like the vibrations are taking me somewhere else. Like vibrations are taking my consciousness somewhere. Like, I don't know why they're doing that. It's making me tired. I'm kind of worried because it seems like they're separating like, they're not being mean. They think they're trying to help me. I mean, they're not angry. They're not mean. They're barely even there. They're not touching me. They're just observing. They're talking to each other, but I can't hear it. They're talking in their head. But they seem nice, but I don't think they're talking to me. And that's a little scary. And I can tell that they're like kind of concerned about me for some reason. Or that they're like, they don't want me to be hurt. They want me to be okay. But they're trying to make sure that I'm taking to the procedure okay. They're observing, but they're not really talking to me. And that's frustrating. Because I just want to know what's happening. If they just explain it to me, like, it'd be easier. If they told me about it before doing it, that would be better. But I'm trying to talk to them, but the channel's not open. They're not opening up the channel for me, and I can't do it by myself yet. Like, sometimes it happens by accident, but I don't know how to just turn it on myself, like all the time or anything. They can do it. I think they can do it. The other guys can do it, so why wouldn't they be able to do it? Anyway, so they're wearing like what? It's like they're wearing like a cloak kind of thing. It's not like. It's like kind of a sheer. It's like a sheer thing. I'm kind of like reluctant to even call it a. I'm a little reluctant to even call it a fabric because it's like kind of light. Anyway, so they're trying to separate me from my body, just for a minute. Just for a minute. That's the first thing that they kind of say. They weren't talking, but they're indicating to me that I'm gonna be just going away for just like I'm gonna feel like my spirit, I'm just gonna feel my, they didn't use the word spirit, but they're not using any words. I'm just seeing the visual in my head. They're telling, I get like, it's like little pieces, little like kernels, like a little bubble in my brain, like it's like a bubble popping, and then in that bubble are like 3 or 4 different like ideas, and they all kind of happen at the same time. It's like it's telling me, it's okay. You're just gonna raise your soul, your energy. I'm seeing it. They're not talking. I'm seeing. It's okay. They're trying to project like, be calm. It's okay. Like we care. Like you're fine. We're warm to you. We're warm to you. You're gonna go up. You're gonna go up. Your light energy is gonna go up. Your body's gonna be right here. You're just gonna go into this dark. Your light is just gonna go into this. The light's gonna go into the box. It's like your light's gonna go up, and it's gonna seem dark. It's like going in a closet. It's like you're going in a closet for a minute, but it's not scary in there. You're just gonna go in there for a second, and then after that, we're gonna be done. It's no big deal. We're gonna be done when you get back. Everything's gonna be done, and you'll go home, and your partner, she's not even gonna know. Oh, that's a relief. Are you guys sure she's not gonna know? It's funny because like my spirit's coming out of my body, and I'm like, I just like, she's not gonna be mad at me, right? Right, guys? I'm like, this is messed up, man. This is messed up, because, like, this is, like, I'm really, like, they're separating my soul from my body so they can do some experiment or something. They'd want to do some, like, diagnostics on my body. But whatever they're doing, they think it's best if my soul's somewhere else for a minute. I don't know why. So I'm gonna go in the... my light, the light is coming. It's like I'm floating, but I'm not floating. It's like I'm levitating, but it's just my spirit, and it goes up, like out of my chest, kinda. Like I can feel my legs still a little bit, but it just kind of comes out and it feels like it's going up for a minute, but then instead of going very far up, like a couple feet, and then my vision, it's like I'm not in the room anymore. It's like I'm in that closet they were talking about. And there's nothing in here. This is boring. This is not exciting. There's nothing to look at. I can't see anything yet. I'm waiting to see if there's anything in here. I feel like they're just trying to keep me safe in here. I'm in here and they're out there, but where I am is, I don't know where I am. Like, I know I'm okay. I think I'm okay. I hope I'm okay. Like, what if they don't let me back in my body? That's gonna be weird. Like, if I don't go back into my body, like, then, then, like, things are gonna be really bad. Things are gonna not be good. But, I guess, if that happens, at least we're not going to get in an argument about it because I'm not there. So that's okay. But I don't want to. I like being in my body. This is interesting. It's like when I floated when I was a kid. Like, it's like when I floated out of my body when I was a kid. It's like that, but like, it's like that, but I don't see anything around me. I'm not outside the car. I'm not outside the house. I'm not outside of my body, like, in space, like normal space, like on Earth. In the bubble, that's a higher frequency. We're in a different place. We're in the same place, or we're near the same place. It's like we're adjacent. And now, the weird thing is with the spirit thing, like, I had the sense with my body that we were in an adjacent. We're adjacent. But I can still feel my legs. I can still feel my legs back in my body a little bit. But for the most part, I'm in this. Okay, I feel like I'm waking up now. Not like in the bubble. I feel like I'm waking up. Am I in the bubble? Am I in the bubble in my body? Am I in the bubble in my body? I'm in the bubble. I can feel my legs wake up. I'm still in the bubble. Am I in the bubble? Or am I home? Am I back in the bed? What did they do to my body? What did they do to my body? I don't feel different. I think I'm in my body now. I think I'm in the room. It's not the whole, it's in that guy's, it's in that family's place. I drank all the Red Bull. I gotta replace the Red Bull. I don't know. Man, there's stuff I gotta do. I gotta do stuff. Okay. I'm on the left she's turned over on the bed. She's facing the other way. I'm laying down flat. Over the covers. She still has her clothes on. I still have my clothes on too. No, I don't have my... Where am I? I'm only wearing my undershirt and my underwear, I think. But I'm over the covers. And it looks like she's still wearing her dress. She's gonna think that's weird. She's gonna think this is weird. She's turned the other way. I hope she's not mad at me. I think it's gonna be okay. Maybe she won't remember it. I want her to remember it, but I don't want her to be mad at me. But I want to see if she remembers it. But if she feels weird about it, I'm not going to pursue it. I don't think. Because I don't want to talk about it either, really. Because I don't want to... I have to go on all these details. She's going to be like, why didn't you tell me about this? Like, what's wrong with you? Is this going to happen again? I don't know answers to a lot of these questions. I'm in the bed. I'm thinking this while I'm looking at the ceiling. I can see the ceiling. I'm back. I don't think anything. I still can't move. I can't move my body yet. Like, everything is like just stock still. Like my arms in particular are real frozen. But she's facing the other way. We don't normally sleep like this. I normally sleep on the other side. So even that's weird. but I'm over the covers. She's under the top cover. She's really asleep. I think she's asleep. I wish I could move so I could ask her, but I don't want to. I just want to let her sleep, because if I let her sleep, maybe she'll forget all about it. Maybe she'll just think everything's alright. Maybe she'll be happier than she was when we got home. She was bummed out, but she wasn't talking about it. She was just like, I don't know, I think she's kind of disappointed in me for some reason. But I don't know anything about it. I don't know about that yet. I don't know about that. So she's facing the other way, and I'm sitting there, and I'm gonna go back to. I think I'm just. I should probably just go to sleep. Like, I should probably just go to sleep, and like I feel like I kind of have to pee, but like I can't really move, and I'm tired, so I'll just wait until the morning. It's funny because like I'm like I'll just wait until the morning, but I don't have any. I can't move anyway, so I'm just trying to make myself feel better, I think. So I think I'm gonna go to sleep. Is it okay if I go to sleep? And do you want to know anything else? Should I
Just know if there's anything else that you need to be aware of about this experience, because we're going to need to start momentarily.
Oh,
for the
okay,
day.
okay.
Anything else that feels important?
There was a light and we're in the bubble, and there was a light that was interesting. It was almost like it was on like a boom pole, or like on it was like an articulating. That was the one piece of gear that was in there. I think it was the same kind of thing that the camera was. That I was talking about. That is that floating sphere. It was like a chromey ball, and it had like a red. I think that was. I saw that red light in the room. I saw that red light that kind of zipped around the room a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a projection of this. It was a preliminary scan. It was figuring out everything in the room so they could make the bubble. That's what I think. That's what it's doing, because there's the chromey thing. It was outside the window. The guys were about to come through the window. They were kind of floating right outside the window for a second there. It felt like forever, but it was just a second. So the chromey ball, it was like taking readings of the size of the room so they could make the bubble the right size. And then the tripod thing, it's like a stick that was like a microphone, like a stick microphone, it was on kind of one of those like articulating lights, like people use when they're drawing. Like you clip it onto the side, and it has the springs on it so you can kind of manipulate where it is, the lamp.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like that. It's a little like that, but that is the same thing as the chrome ball. It's like the continuation over where we are now in the bubble. So that's another important piece of information, I guess. Just like how this all comes together, I guess. Like, for some reason, like, it continues over there. Like, there's the light. There's a little red light coming off of the end of this thing, and it's like the one piece of like real. Like, it's the one piece of like real gear. Like it's an actual object in this other vibration, and that's the part. And like, I'm wondering about that, because like if we're on this higher vibration and like this thing is making the slab in the room and it's making the whole bubble, it feels like everything in there is being created by this thing, right? But like if we're in some vibratory state, like I don't even understand how that thing, like where did that thing come from? Like I don't remember it appearing. I think I was just laying down, but like I saw it for a second when I was coming up out of my body. When I was coming up out of my body, the two guys, they're harder to look at now. They're making it harder to look at them, but it's partially because the light coming out of this microphone looking thing, like a boom mic, the light that's coming out of there is partially obscuring their bodies, so I can see like the outside of their forms, but it's harder to see them. I think it's kind of serving two functions. Like it's partially obscuring them, and it's partially making the slab stay where it's supposed to stay and making the vibration happening. That's interesting. So it's got like several different functions, I guess. Or maybe there's something else on this thing. But anyway, like I think like I don't like I'm looking around the room with a bubble, I guess, and like there's something else, like, oh, the windows. It's like there's a big window and I can't tell if it's the same. It seems to be kind of like referencing the windows in the room, but it's not really there. It's like a hologram. It's like as if that's the part of the bubble that's like grounding me back where I was. It's like it's like a placeholder. It's like a GPS. There's like a thing over there in that corner. It's kind of shadows over there, but there's like a window, and it's just kind of hovering there. There's no wall. There's just the outside of the windows. It looks like I can't really tell if it's like the frame. I can't tell if the frame of that thing is. I can't tell if it's all a hologram or if it's just like a screen that has the window just inside of it. It's weird because there's like a double frame kind of thing happening. But that thing over there. That seems to be. That's holding us. That's like the window back. It looks like the window where we're staying, but it's also like the screen element part of the window is that's what's fixing like the time space back over there. It's so that we can go back there, and it's also so that they can see what's happening over there, I guess. I think that's what's happening. They can see what's happening over there.
I'm more worried about her and what she's going to say, and like waking up in the morning with my, and we're kind of like, she's still wearing her clothes. Like I'm either upside down on the bed or on the other side of the bed where I'd normally sleep. It was like completely out of sorts. And I remember waking up and her being like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. And me being relieved that she didn't want to talk about it. And like, it wasn't the first time that I had a partner that said, I don't want to talk about it after having an experience like that. And it wasn't the first time that I was relieved that the person didn't want to talk about it. And then I realized, like I should have a partner that does want to talk about it. Like I should want to talk about it. And I think that's one of the reasons why when in us talking about this, why I agreed to do this in the first place, to do your podcast, is that though I don't want to be public in terms of my name associated with my case right now, I do appreciate the value in other people hearing it. Like I've already gotten emails like from that, like anonymized email account that we set up. And it's amazing to hear the responses, even already. And I'm so happy that's been able to help folks. My mom listened to some of this, and she listened to it, and she was like, she said something along the lines of like being worried that she sounded like she was too worked up about something, or that she just sounded like worried in comparison to how I seem now with the experience, or how my current kind of processes things. But my mom was completely in the right. Like it was scary then. It could still be scary tomorrow. There could still be scary experiences in the future with this. I still have all my fingers and toes. After 42 years, I do have a basic expectation that I will continue to have my fingers and toes after any events like this happen in the future. My experience just gets to be that strange. And I recognize after these years that, some people would want to have this kind of experience. And it would be crazy to me that, in my mid-20s, if I could trade my life with some others that hadn't had that kind of experience, I probably would have done it like a lot of those mornings in a heartbeat. But I'm glad that I didn't at this point, as scary as they were, as scary as the worst ones were. I'm so thankful to the burgeoning experiencer community that exists. And I'm really hopeful for it. I'm really hopeful for the experiencer community. I think there's a lot of room for growth within it. And we can figure out ways to get together and compare notes, whether it's through podcasts or other situations. We can work on this ourselves too. We don't need the rest of the world to validate this stuff. We have each other.
To contact Anonymous Experiencer 1, email anonymousexperiencer1@gmail.com or check the show notes. On August 11, 1944, radio operator Ronald Claridge was ensconced in his bomber, part of Pathfinding Squadron, which was returning from an air raid in France. At 25,000 feet in elevation, the radar malfunctioned. Just then, pilot Brian Froh called out, "What the hell is that?" Ronald Claridge moved into the transparent dome of the aircraft. There, he saw, quote, "an enormous string of lights on course with us, at a distance of 1,000 yards," end quote. The lights were portholes in a ship. They appeared to be at the edge of an enormous disc-shaped object. The entire crew of the bomber grew stunned and silent. 50 years after the incident, Claridge recounted, observing the craft and feeling, quote, "complete calm and happiness," end quote. The craft remained for 3 minutes. Oddly, the usually trigger-happy gunners did not open fire. All crew simply observed the strange ship in silence until it departed. The event turned Claridge into an amateur artist. His rendering of the enormous craft his bomber encountered in 1944 is documented in UFO Drawings from the National Archives by David Clark. Check the show notes to find the book. Hey, you're already a patron. You already signed up? Haven't you read Time Loops? You colossal omnidirectional temporal arrow in a block universe. Be a patron. Don't be a patron. This is boring. Why don't I become your patron? Well, because you have no content. You are a formless form. See? We've all been doing this so long, so many times. Our polished presence shines like an agate tossed in a samsaric tumbler. Patreon link in the show notes. In the spirit of Phil Ford, become a patron, assholes. Aliens and Artists is brought to you by the Liminal Muse, offering one-on-one sessions with me, Stuart Davis, focusing on spirituality, creativity, and anomalous experiences. To book a session, go to theliminalmuse.com or check the show notes.
Here's to all the babies that I'll never have. This house is empty, and I don't feel sad. Without a trace. Without a trace. If you need a baby, then when I die, I will find your belly and crawl inside.